Today, my goal is to let the American gold medalist, the public speaker, international explorer, author, mentor, and philanthropist take a rest, and I will do my best at engaging Gregory Burns, the world-class artist, on the subject of transformation. We will define transformation as a dramatic and permanent change in a person's worldview to one of being more loving, kind, compassionate, altruistic, connected to others, and dedicated towards creating a more just, sustainable, and peaceful world for all. Gregory, I invited you to speak on this subject because I credit your work and your mentorship as a propeller in my own transformative journey. Your pieces still have the power to bring tears to my eyes in a split second. Happy tears. In 2016, I traveled all the way to London just to stand in front of another one of your pieces, A Spin Through London, which was being displayed at the Cumberland Hotel. And I traveled also to the Great Wall of China for the privilege of attending your workshop and one more exhibit.
Well, it's always a pleasure to listen to you or read your writings or to speak with you or be with you, because you do have a passion for life, for art, for communication.
This is what brings us both here, you know, that thrill of seeing the process developing in someone else and to see them blossom. The link, where is the link between creativity and transformation? Is there one? How do you experience it?
I think that being creative or allowing ourselves to be creative is kind of the beginning entry into transforming. And I think that when we get involved, I'm not saying just tertiary, but I think when we become immersed or really spend time and go more deeply or go deeply into being creative, whether it's cooking or dancing or painting or singing or whatever it is, creating a widget, whatever it is, we become somewhat, and I say this, in inverted commas, we've become somewhat godlike in that we are, as the creator or the creator, creators, whatever we call them, we become like that, and we start to I think tap into our own true voice, our true self, our true nature, or the nature that we are all part of. And I think that through being creative, and in my process through painting, it does change me. It softens me. It strengthens me as well. So I would say it does the yin and the yang, and it does the both, which we all need. We all need to be softened, and we all need to be strengthened. And then I think that in the art, in the act, in the process of being creative, we transform, we become our better selves.
Gregory, Carl Jung and Marie-Louise von Franz both said that the greatest destruction takes place when there is no outlet for the creative spirit. Do you see that the same way? What do you think?
Interesting. Perhaps that is one of the reasons our world is in a troubled space and troubled state, because, I mean, you see a lot of pain and a lot of confusion and a lot of negativity, let's just say, in the world. And we always have it. It's nothing, I don't think it's anything new. But arguably, if people had venues or the possibility of being creative, that all that energy that sadly seems to get dissipated in maybe some negative activities or thoughts or feelings would be channeled. I mean, energy is energy, right? And if you channel it one way or the other, you can do stuff with it. And if perhaps energy is channeled through a creative process, you don't have time really, and you don't have energy, and you don't have the desire to be negative or to complain or to break things and things like that. Now, having said that, yeah, I mean, I've been in the studio and destroyed many paintings. You know, the creative process is not always fun and roses too. So the creative process goes through, has angst and has struggle for sure. And yet that angst and struggle, I think, is being directed down a channel or through a channel or down a road that makes it productive and gives it a goal, or gives it an outlet, or gives it a direction and a purpose. As a result, I think it, though it can be negative, it can be hard, it can be confusing, because it's going towards an endpoint, maybe a blur of an endpoint, or maybe an unknown endpoint, but it is going in some direction, so that channeling that energy towards that direction makes it, it gives it meaning, it gives it value, it gives it life, it gives it, and it kind of diffuses maybe the negative side of it. So anyway, I think, yeah, focusing, you know, ever since I was young, I realized I had a lot of energy and I needed to focus, or the word center, to center myself, as we all do. You know, I think ADHD, I think, is real. We all, I think, have had it, whether we want to admit it or not, and being able to take our energy and channel it. And for me, it's been art and also swimming, but the two things that have been allowed me to focus and channel myself. And as a result, coming out of the processes of channeling myself, I'm a better person. I'm a happier person. I'm a mellower person, and I think I have more understanding as well.
There's so many people have benefited from working next to you.
I think all I do, you know, I'm like the father or mother who has the child on a bicycle for the first time when you take the training wheels off.
Yes.
That's all. That's who I am. And I'm not holding, well, maybe I'm holding your hand to the point of, you know, pushing the bicycle down the street and then letting it go. And then that child on that bicycle starts riding without the training wheels. And, you know, maybe it's a little wobbly at first, but then at the end of the street, when they haven't crashed and they realize I did it, that's all I do. You know, it's you as the artist, it's you as the person, it's you as the student who does the work. You could say, yeah, I maybe gave you a little push, but you do it. And so I claim no credit for that. The only thing I do is I help. I get you. I just say go. You know, go. In a way, I'm just pushing people. Go. In Chinese, you say 加油, 加油, 加油. You know, you say 頑張って, 頑張って, 頑張って. That means just go. You're running a marathon, and you know somebody's running, starting to slow down. You say go, 加油, 加油, go. So you know, I think that's pretty much what I do. I mean, I might point you and, you know, don't run into that tree or that house, or, you know, try, you know, fall into grass here, it'll be softer or something. But, you know, other than that, I think it's really the people who do it. And to your point, I'm not sure I got your whole question about watching other people do it, but, you know, I've had the pleasure and joy really of watching for the last 5 years or so. My wife Angie and I have been doing workshops with, I call them hardened criminals, and these are not people in jail. These are a lot of type A, oftentimes sales and marketing and business people, and we do corporate workshops with these adults, which I would argue should know better. They should really know better than to have so much fun making art. And I say that jokingly because I see these people, men and women, come into a room with their shirts and coats and ties and stuff, and their high heels and slacks. And first of all, you know, we encourage them to remove the Gucci and Armani clothing that they might get paint on. And once they get started into the painting process, which I've watched them now for years, thousands of people just become childlike again. And you see them re-engaging the child within. You see them when they were 8 years old, kicking their first field goal. You see them riding the bicycle with no training wheels, and then they go, I did that.
Yeah.
You see this pride, you see this joy, you see this astonishment in a way that they did that. And it's wonderful to see them becoming something that they've maybe not been for a while, which is that childlikeness, which is the joy of seeing things for the first, creating something and being transformed really to being another side of themselves that have not been activated or allowed out for the longest time. And it's a kick in the pants. I love it. You know, I've argued one of the reasons I like this so much. I mean, I've done a lot of exhibitions, you know, 80 exhibitions, group and solo exhibitions around the world, and I've kind of rated them on the scale of 1 to 10, you know, and I've got some 6s, 7s, and a couple of 8s, you know, maybe 1 or 2 9s and 10s, and that's great. That's, you know, that's cool. And then I look at these workshops, and I've got 12s, I've got 13, you know, I've got over the top, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, there are 11 and 12. So it's just this, and I think part of it too is just the magic of the unknown. In a way, it's flying by the seat of your pants. I mean, we did a workshop once with 1,000 people, and it was in 1 hour. And we honestly, you shouldn't, I didn't tell the organizer at the time that we didn't know if this would work, but we really didn't. And we teed it up, we put it up, and the group just embraced it and created and came back better for it. So it really had, I would say, it affected maybe not all 931 people, but I think it really moved and changed a majority of those people. So anyway, it's fun to watch and fun to be a part of. Maybe it also gives me a chance to be childlike again too, because we can all get way too serious, and you know, I'm me included. So it's a treat for me as well.
Gregory, a much celebrated author, Natalie Rogers, maintains that there is an interrelationship between art modes, that movement affects painting, music affects writing. Japanese novelist Haruki Murakami declares that his running is connected to his writing. How does the training of a consecrated athlete like you affect your creative work?
Well, in some ways, I would argue that there's a discipline to being an athlete and an artist and a writer and anything that we do. There's a discipline, and I would argue that my swimming and my training helped me to realize that, you know, to improve at anything, we have to put in, you know, someone said 10,000 hours to become a master, right? So you know, I think a lot of art and improving as an artist or as an athlete or as a writer or anything, it's putting in the time. You know, there are, I think it's a slow burn. I think the whole process is a slow burn. I realize there are, you know, the miracle wonder, you know, the magical moments when you make huge leaps, and I get that, and we all get that. But for the most part, I think it's a slow burn, and how we gradually improve and learn and grow and change. And as much as we all want to jump to the top of the mountain, you know, usually it's like one step at a time. And I think so training has helped me to realize that. I think it's done many other things as well. For the simple thing is it keeps me healthy. I mean, so my swimming, my athletics makes me strong physically, and if I'm physically strong, my spirit is strong, my energy is strong, I paint strong or better, if I would argue. And for decades, I've gone to nature and I've climbed mountains or swum oceans or you know, hiked and trekked and everything, and then painted and then drawn and taken the energy that has been kind of built up trekking from the floor of Yosemite to the top of Half Dome, or trekking across Ladakh, or you know, and taken that energy and then channeled that into a work of art. And sometimes in a way it's easier to paint those times because you've got this head of steam, you've got this momentum, you've got this energy that has been developed by exercising that now I can channel into something else. And it's just like, I'm already on a roll. So, there's less speed bumps in the way when I've built myself up. So yeah, they really are interlinked, and the yin, they are kind of my yin and my yang, I think, and they certainly work together. And I continue to stay active, physically active, and creatively active. And I think the two, a bit like the painting behind you, there's this spinning of going from mind, body, soul, mind, body, soul, mind, body, soul. Ta-da. There you go.
A print. Yeah. In your experience, are expressive arts emotionally healing?
Of course, yes. When I was younger, and still to this day, but especially when I was younger, say in my teens and 20s and even 30s, I wasn't always the happiest guy. I didn't have the world by the tail. And not to say that I do now, but especially I remember in my early 20s, graduating from college and, things falling apart, wheels falling off the cart, so to speak. And not to say that I'm not against seeking the help of counselors and professionals like yourself. But at that time in my life, that really wasn't something I would do in my early 20s. But what I would do is I would go to the swimming pool. And what I would do is I would go to the studio and I would paint and I would swim. And invariably, it would clean me out. It wouldn't remove or change anything. It's not that it took away the challenges or took away the traumas or took away the sadness. Actually, it did take away a lot of the sadness. There were a lot of things, when they say that in our lives, there's on a scale of 1 to 10, tens are things like, getting divorced or a death in the family or changing job. Anyway, I had at one point in my life, I had a lot of tens that were happening at this, simultaneously, like, the perfect storm. And, if it weren't for painting, it wouldn't have been pretty sight. It was, but it didn't heal it overnight, but it was a long process. And so painting really did save my life in a way. Emotionally, I wasn't to say I was not suicidal, but I was messed up. And those just, it's a subtle thing. It's nothing that, pick up a paintbrush and you'll be healed. Hallelujah. No, I don't think it works so much like that, but in a way it does. In a way it's, allow yourself to knit, to sketch, to sing, to dance, to laugh, to whatever, that little creative thing that you do, and allow it to heal, allow it to take its course. And I think it's a natural thing that when we are creative, when we go inside and we kind of figure things out. And I think there's a healing process that goes on naturally. In a way, we get out of our own way. We in the process of creativity or being creative, we kind of the shackles or the scales of our negatives or our troubles or kind of fall away. And there we are, just being that creative person, just being who we are and creating something maybe beautiful. Maybe at the end you go, wow, that's stunning. And maybe not. Maybe it's like, wow, I should burn that, and that's okay too. So, but actually what I've found is too, oftentimes, looking at something I've created with some space, like some days or weeks later, coming back to it and going, and oftentimes when I've created it, it's like, oh, that's okay, and just put it away. But when I've looked at it later, it's like, wow, that's something. And I didn't see it at the time of creating it, because when you're in the time of creating it, you're enmeshed, involved in that whole drama, if you will. But then having some time and space, whether it's a day, a week, a month, or a year, to look at it later and you go, whoa, I really hit something there or found something there. And honestly, sometimes when we are in dire straits, i.e., suffering emotionally maybe, or even physically or something, I think we oftentimes come up with some artwork that it comes from a real depth of our inside of it that we can hardly scratch when we're happy. And so I'm not suggesting a steady diet of misery to make good art, but I would argue that this whole notion of the starving artist, Van Gogh, and the starving is, I think, is trying to fill a need. It's not physically starving because you don't have enough food. It's starving that you're looking to find or fill a void. And it is a starving, or it is a lack that you're trying to fix. And in the process of fixing it, the discovery, the searching and discovering, I think, are where we do find answers. We do find new frontiers. We do find things we wouldn't have found otherwise when things are just happy. So again, I'm not arguing that we should all go out and be miserable and bang our heads against the wall, but invariably we're going to have that, because that's life. Part of life is that, Buddha said life is dukkha, and we're going to suffer, and that's, I haven't proved him wrong yet. None of us have proved him wrong yet. So if we're lucky enough to find our I don't say calling or our venue, but if we're lucky enough to find that activity that helps us out of that trauma, helps us out of that sadness or difficulty or challenge, use it. Use it a lot, because it's free and it's you, and it's you don't have to go to a pharmacy to get it. It's not illegal. It's natural healing. So find your natural healer, and yeah, Jayo.
How cool are you? You have to use your Chinese. No, Gregory, thank you so much. You're such a delight. And I want to know, well, and also for our audience, because your workshops are such an amazing experience. Are you planning any this year?
Yeah, in fact, September, for the second, third, and fourth week of September, I will be in Italy, in a little village called Gorizia, which is close to France. It's 2 hours from Nice. Driving, it's an hour from Cuneo. Anyway, it's in a little village in Italy, and I'll be teaching what I'm just calling it an art boot camp. So it's Monday to Friday. Yeah, it's pretty much a corporate schedule. It's Monday to Friday, 10 to 5. We'll paint from 10 to 1. We'll have a 2-hour lunch because we're in Italy. Come on. And then we'll, again, pick it up in the afternoon. So 2 sessions a day for 5 days, Monday to Friday. And then on the Friday, we'll have kind of a, gallery walk, exhibition, debrief. So yeah, that's in Italy. I've already got a number of students, but there's still some places left. So I'm only limiting it to, probably less, it'll be less than 8 for sure per class. And so it's just Monday to Friday. The September, I think the first one starts September 9th. And anyway, if anybody's interested, just email me, drop me a line.
Yes.
I mean, the other thing we do, and these are on, by appointment, so to speak, only, is we do the workshops, the corporate workshops or the group workshops. And again, those are, you just tell us where you want to do it, when you want to do it. And, but again, if they contact, through the website, gregoryburns.com, or email, that's fine. We can give them all the information they need. So you can either have fun in Italy, or you can have fun with your colleagues or your family or whatever as a group. So
Oh, Gregory, what a pleasure to have you here today, and thanks again so much.
Well, thank you. Happy to speak with you. And I always enjoy the process of Q&A because it brings out stuff that I would probably never realize. So thank you for your questions.